everyone, it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a bit of, well, I shouldn't say today, the next couple of days is going to be a bit of a challenge focused vlog, as I'm going to be trying to read as many pages as I can over a span of 48 hours. But before we dive into more of the video details and the TBR I have, let's talk first about this video's sponsor. Hi friends, so this video is sponsored by NordVPN, which is the world's fastest private network service provider. The service itself is super easy to use. You can connect with one click or even enable auto connect for zero-click protection, which allows you to access over 5,300 different servers across 59 different countries all around the world. The service, of course, has amazing speed and is actually confirmed to be the quickest one out there, and it also has a lot of options for connection, as you're able to access it across every major platform and operating system. For me personally, I love NordVPN as a way to access all of my entertainment abroad or even at home. Essentially, through this service, you're able to update and change your location to ensure that you never miss out on your favorite content while traveling, or if you want to access different streaming platforms abroad from the comfort of your own home. It's incredibly convenient and a great way to make sure that you never miss out on your favorite shows. And something that I feel like is really important to note, there is no bandwidth throttling. Essentially, NordVPN encrypts all of your traffic, so your service provider can't slow down your streaming speed, which basically means K-dramas running 24/7 in this household. Outside of entertainment, you can also use this for gaming as well. If you want to access a game that's not currently available in your country, you can utilize NordVPN to make sure you are able to download it. Some important techie as well as data security information as well. NordVPN utilizes diskless servers, so they're not storing any data or configurations on site. I of course have an offer code for you guys. If you go to nordvpn.com/peruse and use the code peruse, you can actually get 70% off their 2-year plan, as well as get a month free on top of that. This is actually the last chance to secure this discount, so if you guys are interested in signing up for a VPN service, I'll be sure to have a link to that offer down below. A big shout out to NordVPN for working with me for this video, but let's jump back into the TBR. So as I mentioned, this is a bit of a challenge focused video, very much in like the reading mood, so I've decided to kind of seize that, try and read as much as I possibly can over the next 48 hours. It's currently Sunday early afternoon, and I've essentially actually taken a few days off of work to have a bit of my own personal readathon. I like doing this. I think it's always really fun and it's a good way to challenge myself. I have a lot of pages to talk about. Basically, I have read a decent amount for the month of April, but I'm in the midst of 2 really long books, and there's still a book I would like to start and try to finish before the end of the month. So honestly, I'm just trying to read as much as I possibly can. But to talk more about the TBR, the first book and probably the primary book of this vlog is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This is a book I'm actually currently reading with Starla. I'm on page 204 at the start of this vlog. I want to say it's about, yeah, it's over 800 pages, so it's rather long, and I'm going to try to read all of it, if not most of it, over the course of these couple of days. So far, I'm enjoying this. I thought it had a rather slow start. I wasn't particularly interested, but as the sort of alien component and intergalactic war has begun to kick off, I am a bit more interested, but I'll talk more in depth about this kind of once I begin reading it. From there, I have 2 other books. First is A Loss Away, which I want to start and get a good amount through, as I hope to finish this before the end of the month. And then I, of course, also have Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. This book is so hefty. I have also started this. I don't exactly remember what page I'm on, as I am reading it on my ebook, but I want to say I'm around the 300 page mark, so I have quite a bit of this left. This is 1,300 pages, so I have a lot of this to read, so I'm just trying to catch up as much as I possibly can, try to read about half of this before the end of the month, and finish it in the month of May. But yeah, these are my books for this 48-hour reading challenge. So many pages, but I'm basically just trying to play a bit of catch up and just see how much I can read, you know? It's always interesting to find out. So that is the TBR for this video. Hopefully I'm successful. I have no idea kind of what my target goal is. We're just gonna see what happens. But yeah, welcome to the vlog. Cheer me on. I'm gonna need it as I try to read as much as I possibly can, you know? All right, cheers. All right, friends, popping in with my first reading update of this vlog because I've actually sat down and read 50 pages of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and overall I just wanted to give my initial thoughts and feelings, but also kind of give some context to what this book is even about. So this is the first book to what I believe is going to be a sci-fi series. I don't know if it's a trilogy or more than 3 books or not, but it's Christopher Paolini's new book. This is actually my first Christopher Paolini book I've ever read. I never read Aragon. So this is my first encounter with his writing. It definitely has a lot of hype going in. Obviously, he's a super popular author, and I've seen a variety of different feelings about this book, but it is a space opera style novel following our main character Kira. And for me personally, when I first started this book, I was not liking it. So essentially it opens, we follow Kira, who is a researcher, and she's on a mission on like a faraway planet with her crew. She's there, she's been working closely with all of these individuals, and she's also been working closely with her boyfriend for the past couple years. She's just been kind of, you know, researching and exploring the deep recesses of space as humankind has kind of expanded beyond Earth and have begun to colonize and live on a variety of different planets. And she works for a company that kind of like helps jumpstart new human colonies, basically. But at the beginning of the book, Kira accidentally stumbles upon like an ancient alien tomb of some kind, and essentially she gets like infested, it seems, by some sort of alien life, which basically manifests itself in this sort of like alien suit of sorts. It's really strong, it's really powerful, it also seems to have some sort of mind of its own. And a lot of the beginning of this book, and actually what I imagine the majority of this book, is going to be Kira kind of tuning and becoming in tune with this sort of alien power, and there's a mystery of like why, where, how, and like how it's going to evolve. Outside of that though, there's also a conflict that has now begun to arise between humans and an alien species called the Jellies. They essentially have now begun to attack human colonies and just humans across the universe to, I think, take and colonize them. It's unclear exactly what their motivation is at this point in the book, but there is a lot of conflict so far. So I've read 250 pages of this book, and I would say the pacing is really quick, as I have been kind of hinting at. Sorry, my washing machine is going on. The first 70 pages of this book I did not like. It was definitely kind of like introing Kira, kind of getting us settled in this sort of space setting. And essentially I just felt like Christopher Paolini was trying so hard to get us to like Kira, and also like to give her a backstory of pain for like the rest of the series. It just felt kind of pointless because it was like serving emotional stakes or like emotional backstory for later, if that makes sense. And like the harder he tried to get us to care about these characters, the less I cared about these characters. That being said, after the 70-page mark, and as the sort of alien component of this book began to kind of expand, I'm super interested. I have so many questions, as does our main character Kira. So kind of having her as our main protagonist, and we're kind of discovering everything with her, because so is the rest of humanity, is super cool. Her sort of like alien suit that has like powers is really interesting and cool, and just kind of following her throughout space as she's kind of like trying to help humanity, but ultimately like she's trying to get questions answered for herself, because her reality has been turned upside down after she kind of stumbled upon this ancient alien tomb thing. All in all, I am very intrigued by the plot and premise. I hope it has a lot of action. It moves very, very, very quickly. And overall, I can definitely see what Christopher Paolini is doing in terms of setting a foundation for like a very large intergalactic conflict. And right now he's just kind of giving us pieces to keep us entertained and interested. I didn't love the beginning, but it's definitely picked up, and I like Kira as a main character much more now, and I find it overall a lot less cheesy kind of now that we've gotten to the swing of things. But yeah, I've read 50 pages, but I'm on page 250, making progress. I'm definitely trying to read a lot of this today. Just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what this book is about and how I'm feeling about it in the beginning. All right, folks, keeping it very simple. For lunch today, we're making a Caesar salad. Hopefully I can convince Clay to bake something later, but for now, I'm gonna whip this together. And a bon appetit. Yum. Lunch is consumed and it's time for a midday cup of coffee. I'm going back to reading immediately, and if I read 150, 175 pages, I get to reward myself with some K-dramas. So, gotta stay focused. All right, folks, getting back to it. Also, look who's joining me. You gonna have a 48-hour readathon with me, Clay?
I don't think so, but maybe like a half-hour readathon.
Hello, I'm really proud to say I have read 160 pages. I'm on page 360. I'm on part 3 of this book. It's definitely been kind of like the longest reading sprint I've had in a while. I feel like my attention span has not been great recently, which was another reason why I wanted to do a bit of a reading challenge, because I feel like my stamina has been a little off, but I've read 160 pages. Overall, I'm still enjoying this. I do think it has picked up from the beginning issues I had. I still find some of the characterizations to be not bad, but maybe not amazing, like somewhere in the middle. I like Kira, and the plot itself is really progressing. I would say that's definitely its strength. This book balances being like a lot of fun and being entertaining with having a really intense like problem that we really don't know anything about. The conflict between these sort of alien species is starting to increase, and overall everyone is trying to kind of piece together why and how it's even happening. So there's this sort of intensity of like the end of, you know, an entire galaxy, or like the motivations are unclear. And our main character is now kind of traversing on this quest to try to locate an item that could possibly help turn the tide of the war. And she's kind of, you know, going with a ragtag group of sort of like mercenary type figures, you know, classic, like they have their own ship full of, you know, varying personalities, and they're kind of working together to find this item. This sort of setup is what I generally enjoy. I like all the conversing. I like all of the dialogue, and there's even a ship mind, which tends to be an element I always really appreciate in sci-fi. Again, overall, I'm really intrigued by kind of the plot and the overall escalation of this book. Again, the pacing is wild. I like a lot of the characters. I don't feel like I have fully fallen head first within this book. Like, I wouldn't say I love everyone, and this so far is like an all-time fave, but it's delivering on the entertainment factor, and the characters are growing on me slowly, you know? Like, even at times they can be a little like two-dimensional. They're growing on me with time, which is ultimately what matters. But I am a little past a third of the way through this. I'm going to read more tonight. I am going to take a bit of a break though, because I've decided I earned it, and watch some K-dramas and have a snack. I just wanted to say hello, and I've officially read 160 pages of this book. I plan to read more, maybe get to 300 pages tonight. We'll see. Thrilled to announce that Clay is baking something else today. It's gonna make some funfetti cupcakes. It was a personal request of mine, so can't wait to consume that. It requires 4 cups of confectioner sugar. That's how you know it's gonna be good. Actively choosing to be sad tonight. I have 3 episodes of Goblin left. I also got a very late cup of coffee because we've got reading to do still, folks, but wanted to, you know, take a bit of a break, enjoy a snack, enjoy a cup of coffee, hang out with Matilda, and watch Goblin. It's pizza time. Matilda is pooped. All right, I'm about to get back to reading. Like the records show, Goblin is truly messing up my emotions. Clay over here is sifting his flour, making funfetti cupcakes at 11 p.m. Living the life. We'll have them tomorrow for breakfast with our coffee.
I'll have them tonight. For second dinner.
First dessert. But I have to stop watching Goblin. I'm at the point where I have an episode and a half left, and if I don't stop now, I'm gonna be up till 1 a.m. watching this and not reading, which is the opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing for this video. So I'll finish it later. It's very emotional. Anyway, I'm gonna read. That's what I'm trying to say. Look at these.
How do people get them in here?
It's hard. You just gotta get a little ice cream cupcake scoop.
Comment in the comment section how to get cupcakes in here without making an enormous mess.
Next time you'll be on Cupcake Wars. Oh.
Pro tip, It's better if you just never cook it and eat the...
Matilda agrees. Happy to report I've read another 100 pages. Things are still wild. I'll do a more coherent check-in tomorrow. I'm just trying to stay awake long enough to have a cupcake, and I'm gonna go to bed. I would like to read maybe 300 pages tonight. I think that'd be a decent start, with hopefully reading even more tomorrow. I got a little distracted by K-dramas tonight, but 300 pages of sci-fi, I feel like a solid first day of this readathon. Not gonna be hard on myself, but I'm gonna go eat sweets now right before bed. You know, good cupcake right before bed. Good for the teeth. And then I'm gonna do more reading of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which overall I'm liking. Again, I wouldn't say this book is blowing my mind in any way, but I'm liking the plot. I just wish I liked the characters a bit more, I guess. But anyway, time to go eat some sweets. Look at these. They're so pretty. Did you use the plastic bag?
Yeah.
Icing
It was
tip?
my first time doing it, so.
I mean, I think they look really nice, Clay. I'm gonna eat one now. A pre-sleep cupcake, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. Good morning, everyone. Cheers, good morning, happy Monday. I got up and got dressed. I'm also happy to report I did read 350 pages of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars between last night and a bit this morning. I did take today off work, so I do plan to do a lot of reading today. I have a bit of work I do need to sneak in this morning, but I don't think it should take too long. And then I'll give you guys another reading update for To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. I do think I'm gonna switch books for a bit today. One, because I just want a change of pace, and I think I'm getting a little burnt out on To Sleep from a Sea of Stars just with how quickly I'm trying to read it and how long it is. I just wanted to say hello, good morning. It's Monday. I put a dress on, which, you know, I'm always proud of, and that's it. Working on making lunch, but also this is going on. I put together a salad, a bit of a summer salad with carrots, corn, radishes, put some ranch in it, gonna put some bacon in it, gonna put some eggs. You know, it's one of those salads that's like really a vehicle for tasty things on top, you know? The best kind. Into bon appetit. Hi everyone. So lunch is consumed. I finished the little bit of work I needed to do today, so now I'm gonna focus on the rest of the afternoon and evening, obviously, on reading. I'm trying to be as productive as I can because I also want to finish Goblin tonight, so TBD on that. But I wanted to pop in and say I've actually read 400 pages of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and I am gonna switch books at this point. I'm liking To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. I'm on page 600 and I'm definitely kind of like near the end. I have about 280 or so pages left. This book is long, and I think if it wasn't so long, the sort of middling opinion I have on it wouldn't be as big of a deal. Like, I think I'd give this book like 3.5 stars, which is not a bad rating. It has good action for the most part. I like aspects of the pacing and the main character, but because it's not blowing me away, it's hard to sort of motivate yourself to read like a 900 page book, if that makes sense. Like, I like it, but I don't love it. But it's like, you know, it's just like if you like a 9-hour documentary series, like it can feel a little long, you know what I mean? So with that in mind, I'm gonna switch over to Away, which I believe is a YA middle grade novel about a young girl set kind of in an alternate United States where native folk stories and other sort of stories are alive and like a part of this particular world. And we follow our main character who also lives in a small community and I think is trying to solve the death of her cousin. So I'm really looking forward to this. It has illustrations. I've heard really excellent things about this. I'm hoping it's just really whimsical and a bit dark. So I'm gonna start this now and try to get a good 150 pages read before I figure out what I wanna do for the rest of the day in terms of reading. Maybe I'll go back to Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Maybe I'll read some Oathbringer. Just trying to get as many pages read as possible. But yeah, also I changed because I don't know. Sometimes it was just time. Midday outfit change. Anyone else do that still? Can't help myself. Hello. I have read 50 pages of a Lost Way. And I'm actually really, really liking this, which I was kind of anticipating. But the setting is so cool. It's literally like our world, like normal small town mall life, high school life sort of thing. But it's like if all folklore or like mythical creatures also existed in some variant and impacted the world. But like not everyone is directly impacted, but it's like common enough where it's just included and integrated into society. And our main character Ellie can see ghosts, and I don't know, it's just really clever, and I just really enjoy the sort of the setting, like just the integration of mythology and just like a YA contemporary type of setting. It's very, very cool. Definitely gonna read more of this, but I'm going to watch some Goblin and probably eat one of those cupcakes Clay made. There's Millie, she's down there staring at her arch nemesis, the makeup bag. Guys, I just finished Goblin. Oh my god, the amount of all caps text messages I have sent out during the last episode of Goblin is it's a lot, is what I'm trying to say. I don't even know if I'm being coherent, but wow, what a ride. In the end, I really, really liked it. I think I'm also just gonna stay on the train with that main actress and watch King Eternal Monarch, I think it's called, next. But Goblin, entertaining in the end. Entertaining in the end. My reading has been a little askew today. I have read almost 500 pages, which for a 24-hour span is definitely above average for me. So I'm not gonna be too hard on myself, and I still have time left to read, which I'm going to do now. But I maybe wish I read a bit more, but you know what, 500 pages is still something to be proud of in a 24-hour span. So I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna sit down now and do more reading of A Lost Way, which I am really enjoying, and I'm gonna read more before I do another check-in. But wow, I just paced around my apartment for really no reason. I'm not even sure, but wow, what a ride. What a ride. Hello world, I'm about to cook some dinner, but I've been reading. I recovered from my Goblin fallout, and I've read 150 pages of A Lost Way, and I'm really, really liking this book for so many reasons, from the writing style to the creativity, and just the overall story has just immediately drawn me in. For context, and kind of as I already mentioned, this follows our main character Ellie, who's 16. I've already mentioned that this book has a variety and abundance of creatures from all sorts of different folklore-based story. An element of this book I really like is that obviously folklore is really rooted in storytelling, and we encounter that in so many different ways within the story. Obviously, we're encountering the creatures in real time as Ellie and her friends and her family kind of, you know, come across different creatures real time, but also there is an element of storytelling as it relates to Ellie's family from the past, as her great sixth great grandmother was a really impressive woman who did a lot of traveling and saved a lot of people. Particularly Ellie's family too has a long history of passing down a specific power, and that is to interact not only with ghosts, but I think also have an ability to kind of raise the dead in some way. And Ellie, our main character, is rather powerful in that ability, which brings us again to present day, as again this book opens with the death of Ellie's cousin, and he actually visits her in a dream right before he passes on and tells her that he was murdered. So while everyone in kind of the small town where he lived and worked as a teacher is trying to kind of pass it off as an accident and everything looks like an accident, she travels there with her father to try to uncover more. And again, I just feel like this book really wonderfully balances this sort of supernatural, fantastical creatures and monsters and all sorts of things kind of come to earth with still feeling so rooted in like our reality, because it's really not that different from our world. Like our history, the technology, like everything is the same. It's just if monsters and creatures and stories really came to life and also lived among everyone, which I think is just really interesting. And Ellie, the main character, is immediately so easy to root for. She's driven, she's smart, she's tenacious, and just as a main protagonist, you just quickly love her. And then also just her desire and how much she's rooted within her family and just like wanting to solve this mystery you know, despite the pain she's feeling with the passing, it's just really admirable. And just kind of the family component and the history and the storytelling element of this is just really, really drawn me in. And I just think it's so wonderfully constructed so far. I love the writing style. I like the pacing. I like how the book is plotted out. Just everything about it so far has really captured my attention. It's not super long. I think it's about 350 pages, so I have 200 pages left. I actually think I won't have an issue finishing this tonight at all. I also wanted to mention that it has illustrations at the beginning of each chapter, which are really, really well done too. I don't know, I'm just really liking this book a lot, and I know this is going to be a literal journey because we're following Ellie as she's traveling to where her cousin lived, as well as kind of a metaphorical journey as she kind of works to try to solve this mystery. But yeah, I'm really liking this a lot. It's drawn me in right away, and it's definitely just like my kind of story in terms of the style and just the writing. I really like it, so I'm definitely gonna try to finish this tonight, but just wanted to give an update as I have read 150 pages and read a good chunk this late evening. But now I'm going to make some dinner because it's that time of night. I don't really know what happened today, but with that, I have read 550 pages. I'm gonna try to finish this and get around, to about the 750 page mark tonight, and then read tomorrow morning to surpass the 1,000 page mark. I've decided 1,000 pages is my goal for this 2-day reading sprint, but let's cook. Alrighty, cupcakes, but I'm gonna be making kind of like a red curry with a bunch of vegetables and eat it with rice. So I've got actually quite a bit of chopping to do because I'm throwing like all the vegetables, and then I'll put some tofu in it. And that'll be dinner. It should be very good. At least I hope so. Wish me luck. Making some sort of Thai red curry is how I trick myself into eating a bunch of vegetables, friends. Just throw them all in there. And there you go. And voila. She's done. I'm gonna let it simmer for a bit longer to let everything kind of thicken up. I might add some more peppers in here too to make it a bit spicier. But yeah, fast and tasty. Easy weeknight dinner. And a bon appetit. And I'll have leftovers for lunch tomorrow. Here with Matilda, I've read another pages of A Loss Away, 200 page mark, which also means I've read 600 pages. I'm gonna watch one episode of King Eternal Monarch because I'm weak, but then I'm going to get back to reading. I promise. Someone hold me accountable. Hi friends, so King Eternal Monarch episode 1 is watched. I'm definitely hooked right away. The premise is so interesting. It's about like parallel worlds, and the main guy character is like a king, and he goes to another world, and it has like a lot of intensity but a lot of humor, and I just love the setup, kind of like Alice in Wonderland falling through the, what is it, the rabbit hole sort of situation. So I'm definitely probably gonna watch a lot of that for the next 2 weeks. But I'm gonna go back to my book. I am going to try to finish this, as I said, tonight. I have about 200 pages left, so I definitely feel like that is achievable. I'll do a few check-ins. If not, I'll wrap it up tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is my main priority. Gonna finish this, and when I do, it'll be a total of 750 pages, and I'll be on track for my 1,000 page mark for this vlog. I've read an additional 50 pages, and I wanted to do an update. I've talked at length about the fantasy component of this book and the storytelling, as well as just the magic integration. It's just so amazing, but it's just so cool, and I just love how large the range of magic users are. And I also kind of like that it's just that everyone kind of is touched with magic. It's not that people are like excellent, or there are some people that maybe are stronger than others, but there are people that just have like a minimal amount of ability, and it kind of just relates to the history of this world, which I just think is so cool. Outside of that though, this book is getting very intense, because obviously our main character Ellie is working to try to solve her cousin's
murder. So we're following her as she is kind of investigating a variety of different things and trying to piece together what happened that night. Obviously, given the nature of the topic, it just creates a bit of intensity and definitely kind of like puts me on edge as a reader. I do think it's paced really well, and so far I've really appreciated how the clues have kind of been divulged and kind of how they're kind of moving through this investigation. Outside of just the overall plot and setting of this book, I also wanted to speak on the characters. Obviously, I really like Ellie as a main character, as I've already mentioned, but I really appreciate the side characters. One, I really love seeing the relationship between Ellie and her parents. The dynamic and just the inclusion of the family element and the family component of this book, I feel like is not something I usually come across as often in kind of thriller or more fantastical YA book settings, and I just really appreciate their dynamic and their relationship. It's truthfully just really sweet to read, and I really enjoy it. I also really enjoy her relationship with her close friend, who's also helping her kind of figure out what's going on behind the scenes. I appreciate that everyone really respects and understands each other. There's a level of respect between parent and child, and the friendship is one where they're very different, but they clearly feel comfortable like expressing things to each other, and if it might be awkward for a moment, like it does seem like something they can overcome with time, which just in general, I just appreciate how the relationships are kind of fleshed out within the story. It just feels really realistic, and I guess harkening back to, while this is definitely fantastical and there are thriller elements to this, it also has such great components of like a YA contemporary, which is just like great character work and just a really earnest storytelling quality to the whole thing. So I'm rambling. I'm definitely on track to finish tonight. I just want to say it has magic, it's dark and intense, but also just like great characters. Really liking this book so far. I'm going to finish it now. I am getting tired, so I'm gonna go. Good morning, everyone. I'm up, I'm dressed. I'm wearing this really cute dress. I'm wearing a sweater over it, but it has little embroidered flowers on it. Big fan. I've been up. I've actually been reading. I did finish The Lost Way last night, so I'll do an overall reading catch up with you guys. And I started a third book for this vlog. It's chaotic in this apartment, in this household, but I did finish a book, which makes me really happy. And I'm still tracking for that 1,000 pages, but just wanted to say hello, good morning. I'm gonna drink my coffee now and hang out with Matilda. Hi friends, just wanted to pop in and give you guys a baseline of kind of where we're at coming into the last part of this reading vlog challenge. So first and foremost, I've read 400 pages of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. I've talked about this book at length. Overall, I'm liking the action. There is a lot of battle scenes and there is a lot of just like overall fighting. It's a very intense story in terms of pacing. I'm still having a harder time connecting to the characters, but I do intend to finish this over the next few days this week. And then from there, I read the entirety of A Lost Away last night. This was such a delight. I really enjoyed this book from beginning to end. I obviously have been raving about the fantastical folklore kind of supernatural elements to the story, but it also has a very intense thriller component. In fact, it got a lot darker and a lot like heart-wrenching than maybe I was anticipating picking this book up. I was also reading this quite late at night, and I am also a wimp, but nonetheless, the murder sequences really got to me. I'm also just in general a fan of small town hiding secret sort of setting, and I just felt like this was really well constructed, really enjoyed the characters, and just was a really solid book from beginning to end. I read it super quickly, obviously in one night, so it's definitely hard to put down. I also felt like it really artfully combined like societal enemies with like literal monsters, and sometimes how those two things can intersect. So I just felt like all in all, I really enjoyed this book from beginning to end, and I will definitely be picking up more books by this author. I just felt like it was so imaginative and just really, gosh darn, entertaining. And then from there, folks, we're on our third book. So I was already 300 pages into Oathbringer, but I was able to read now 70 pages of this morning. I am liking Oathbringer. I still feel like Words of Radiance will be my favorite, but this particular book, if I recall, does provide a lot of backstory and information and important context for what I imagine for the later books of the series. It also centers Dalinar, who is one of my favorite characters. So I just recall being very emotionally connected to this story. But yeah, obviously my Stormlight Archives reread is still ongoing. It is taking me me so long. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself, but these books are crazy long, but I'm almost on page 400 now of this, and I will be continuing to read this throughout today before the end of this readathon. But at this point in time, I have read 400, 360 pages, 760 pages, plus another 70 pages here, which is 830 pages. I just have to read 170 pages more of Oathbringer to wrap this guy up, and I don't foresee that being a problem. I have been really wanting to dive back into Oathbringer. I've taken a bit of a break throughout the month, but yeah, this series is just so good. I have been actually reading this on an ebook because this thing is so heavy, but the illustrations are just truly stunning. But yes, so that is an update so far of everything I was able to read so far. I'm still tracking to read 170 more pages of Oathbringer, and then I am going to watch a bunch of K-dramas, if I'm being honest. The Eternal King Monarch new drama I started last night, it's so good. I don't want to stop watching it at all, but we're gonna get to reading now.
Sometimes life is about getting Chipotle for lunch. It's a soft spot I've always had.
Hi, so I've read another 100 pages of Oathbringer. Here's the deal, it's Stormlight Archives, it's so good. This is a reread for me. But one thing I'll say about Oathbringer that I am really enjoying is not only getting a deep level of context for Dalinar. Every book you kind of hyper-focus on one of the characters' past, what I just think is really, really helpful for providing emotional stakes and really in great contrast to a lot of the feelings I'm having for To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Like, the characters in the Stormlight Archive, despite there being so much action, feel so real, and you just love them and you fall into their head, you fall into their story so easily. And just like comparing the two, which there's a lot of difference obviously between these two books, but just comparing, I guess, the characterization, Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives is just so good. But outside of just getting more context for Dalinar, who I just think is a really fascinating character in terms of like following a man who's had quite the personal arc in his life, there's also just this level of intensity because it's starting to feel very real, this like larger world-ending conflict, which has been hinted since the first one, but also this level of anxiety because while we're finally getting the ball rolling, it just doesn't feel like it could possibly be enough. Like, it almost feels pointless, but none of the characters kind of feel that too, but they're pushing forward anyway. There's also elements of dramatic irony for a variety of reasons with some characters that just gets your heart pounding and just stresses you out. Oathbringer is just one big book of stress because there's just like, I don't know. It's like, how are they gonna overcome this? Now I'm remembering why I was so anxious to pick up Rhythm of War. I remember when I finished Oathbringer, I was like, what in the world? And now I have Rhythm of War, and I just feel like things are gonna get worse. There's only one way to find out. But yeah, so I need to read 70 more pages, which I'm going to succeed. I have enough time before my early afternoon cutoff time. And then I'm gonna go for a walk and go touch some grass because I need to get out and about. It's been a minute since I've been outside for a prolonged period of time. So that's also on my to-do list today after I read my 1,000 pages in 48 hours. So there's that. Hi friends, and welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I just wanted to quickly pop in and wrap up. I feel like I've done a lot of wrap ups, so I really just wanted to say I read 1,000 pages and I'm really proud of myself. That's definitely the most I've read in a 48-hour period in a while. So for that, I am going to pat myself on the back across all 3 of these books, which I enjoyed in varying degrees, but definitely looking forward to wrapping up Oathbringer and To Sleep in the Sea of Stars later this week. And obviously I loved A Lost Away. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye.